Hello everyone and welcome to the daily newspaper analysis which is brought to you by LawSikho. So we hope that you're all doing fine and you're going to start this day with an amazing start with this newspaper analysis. So today we have one article for our discussion that is basically an editorial as well, which has been taken from the Indian Express newspaper. The title of this article is "In UP Loudspeaker Rap 2017 High Court Order 2018 Directives." Now, as we know that all of a sudden this whole new loudspeaker thing has come up on the forefront once again. So we will see as to what is this order about the High Court, about the loudspeaker, and is it only something that has come from the recent past, or that has been already done and just has surfaced again due to some recent incidents. Secondly, we'll be covering up the news updates, for example, important awards, appointments, national parks and news, etc., which are very, very important for our prelims exam. And thirdly, we'll be covering the latest legal news, in which we'll be covering the latest case laws that are important for our exam. With this, let's start a discussion with the first article and the only article for the day, which is about the UP loudspeaker case, which is about the 2017 order and the directives from 2018. Let's see why at all this entire thing is into news. So senior Uttar Pradesh officials have said that several loudspeakers have been capped, which means they have been tabbed or taken down, or confiscated based on an existing government order of 2018. The notices that have been issued in this regard mention a Lucknow bench of Allahabad High Court order in 2017 and the noise pollution rules of 2000. So here, two of the laws basically, or the two legal points will be referred in detail. Firstly will be this judgment or this order basically of the Allahabad High Court that came up in 2017. And secondly would be the basic rules that are there in noise pollution rules of 2000. So basically what happened was that on April 23rd, the Uttar Pradesh government directed all divisional commissioners to strictly follow the Lucknow bench order with regard to noise pollution rules 2000 in the case of Motilal Yadav versus state of Uttar Pradesh. So this can be a potential question as well that recently seen in news. Motilal Yadav versus state of Uttar Pradesh is related to which of the following? So they might give you a lot of options, but remember that this is about the noise pollution or a check on the use of loudspeakers to go in a basic understanding. Next, the government has also referred to two orders to the same effect passed in 2018, which were not being followed as well. So just like this court order, which was there in the case of Motilal Yadav, similarly, there were two important orders also that were executive orders, but they were still not being followed. In 2017 order specifically, it talks about the removal of loudspeakers from places of worship and for strict implementation of noise pollution rules 2000. Definitely here we need to understand that the order precisely talked about that the loudspeakers be removed from the places of worship and therefore there will be strict implementation of the noise pollution rules. But definitely we can see it over here that nothing of this sort was happening in the real world. So the court in this case noted that repeated PILs, that are the public interest litigations on this ground only, showed that the authorities tasked with the proper enforcement of noise pollution rules have miserably failed in doing so, are just not motivated enough to take action. Definitely, see, as we know, when we talk about that India has all the beautiful laws, we have such amazing constitution, we have all the laws requisite or important for the nation, but the implementation is weak. So here the exact picture has come up on the forefront once again, that the rules, the order which had come up were quite efficient, but the implementation was not done into the best of their manner, and that is why till date they have not been implemented and the impact has not been very positive. The court then moved forward to collate a list of permissions of loudspeakers, as in which places or when were they given loudspeakers, like the permission to use the loudspeakers and stuff. And so upon these permissions, and if there are any places which actually did not have any real permission, so that have been introspected in a very, will be done in a very detailed manner. And the steps that will be taken with the government to remove them will also be monitored by the court. Now, the court also mandated proper inquiry into the officials who were supposed to be overlooking such installations at public spaces. So definitely the bureaucracy that was important, that was crucial in implementation of this entire order, definitely they also are answerable to the court now. The court also brought into ambit the loudspeakers of processions like marriages and religious parades as well. Here is a quick question for you all, that when we talk about these loudspeakers being used and public being hampered because of that, do you think that any of our fundamental rights are also getting abridged or violated? If yes, which fundamental right is it? If you know the answer, take a moment, pause this video and let us know your answer in the comment section below. We'll be more than delighted to see your answers. With this, let's move on the news update segment. First, Rajmala is the safest haven for Nilgiri Tahr, one of the most important species over there. So the survival rate of the newly born Nilgiri Tahr up to 1 year was recorded at highest at the Rajmala, which is in Eravikulam National Park. Please remember that Eravikulam National Park is located in Kerala. This can itself be a very important prelims question, and it's part of the Western Ghat system. So presently, the population of the Nilgiri Tahr is 1,039, including 157 newborns. Secondly, Lieutenant General B.S. Raju is now the new Vice Chief of Army Staff. Lieutenant General Bagavali Somshekhar Raju will take over as the next Vice Chief of the Army Staff on May 1st, the Defense Ministry said. Please remember that B.S. Raju, Lieutenant General B.S. Raju will be taking over as the Vice Chief of Army, as against the recently appointed Chief of the Army Staff, who will be Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey. Basically, okay, yes. So please, guys, please pay attention over here that Lieutenant Raju will actually succeed the incumbent Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey, and because generally right now he's holding the position and he's now being elevated to the post of Chief of the Army Staff. Thirdly, INS Ghariyal, as a part of mission SAGAR IX, reached Colombo with the aim of providing critical medical aid to Sri Lanka during the ongoing crisis. INS Ghariyal, as part of the mission SAGAR IX, today reached Colombo. Here, an important point for us to remember is that mission SAGAR IX is related to which of the following countries? So the correct answer would be Sri Lanka. And what would be the purpose of SAGAR IX mission? So it will be the ongoing, providing critical medical aid to Sri Lanka. So it has till date delivered 760 kgs of 107 types of critical life-saving medicines to Sri Lanka. Fourth, SemiconIndia Conference 2022. So the inaugural SemiconIndia 2022 conference is being organized by India Semiconductor Mission in partnership with industry and industry associations, aiming to make India a global hub for semiconductor design, manufacturing, and technology development. Please note that currently India is heavily dependent on imports of the semiconductors. Let's see what do we have for the legal news for the day. Firstly, healthcare services provided by doctors are very much covered under the Consumer Protection Act of 2019, says the Supreme Court, and it upholds the Bombay High Court judgment. So the Supreme Court, in the case of Medico's Legal Action Group versus Union of India, has upheld the judgment from the Bombay High Court, and it has reaffirmed that the healthcare services that are provided by the doctors fall under the ambit of Consumer Protection Act. Next, POCSO Act, not in derogation of any other law, has overriding effect in case of inconsistency, says Karnataka High Court. So while increasing the quantum of imprisonment for an accused convicted of raping a minor girl from 7 years to 10 years, the Karnataka High Court held that the provisions of Section 42 Clause A of the POCSO Act, please remember POCSO Act here is the Prevention of Offences, Sexual Offences Against Children, Act is not in derogation with any law, and in case any inconsistencies arise, it is POCSO who shall have the overriding effect. This is a very important point to remember, that if at all there is any kind of clash or tussle, POCSO, the provisions of POCSO will prevail over the other provisions of law. So this was held in the case of State of Karnataka versus Shankar Urf Shankarappa, son of Ramappa Hubali. Thirdly, we have that engagement of child, not offence, under Section 11 of Child Marriage Act, says the Rajasthan High Court. So of course, this might come as a surprise to all of us, that engagement of children, if at all has been done, so that is not an offence under Section 11 of the Child Marriage Act. So Rajasthan High Court, in the case of Anup Singh versus State of Rajasthan, has observed that Section 11 of the Child Marriage Act 2006 makes it clear that organizing a marriage between children would constitute an offence under the provisions of the Act. However, mere engagement of children would not amount to an offence under Section 11 of the Child Marriage Act. So this was all for the day. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and also leave a very good and refreshing note for all of us in the comment section below. If you wish to download the PDF of today's slides, you can join our Telegram channel. The link is there in the description box below, and you can simply scan this QR code that you can see on your screens right now. Also, for other crisp and exam-oriented content, you may follow us on our official Instagram channels as well. Thank you so much.